Hey friends, it is Kate here. Thank you so much for jumping on my channel and joining me for a class today. Now I have got about a 25-minute Pilates yoga fusion class just for you. This one in particular is great for anyone that is just not a fan of downward dog. We're going to skip that pose totally because I know sometimes it's just not in the cards. It's also going to be one that's good for hip opening. So roll out your mat and let's get started. We will begin seated on our mat with our legs crossed. Now, if you've got a little tension or a little tightness through the back of your legs or your hips, you can always grab a block or a blanket or anything that you can kind of lift your hips up to sit up a little higher, and that can make things a little bit more accessible, a little more comfortable in our body. We don't have to. But wherever you are, let your hands hang heavy by your sides, on top of your thighs, or on the ground, and maybe close your eyes if you feel comfortable with that. Think of pulling your belly button in, maybe even swivel a little on your hips, making sure we can feel our sitting bones connected to the mat. Draw the ribs towards one another and broaden your shoulders side to side. Imagine that I just came up and I grabbed hold of your ears and I ever so slightly pulled them up to the sky. Would there be more length there, or are you as tall as you can possibly be? Take a great big inhale through your nose and a big easy sigh out the mouth. Again, great big inhale. Big deep breath out. One more time. Let it go. Flutter your eyes open, roll the shoulders a little bit, put a smile on your face. Inhale, carry your hands up nice and high. Exhale, flip the palms, press them down. Twice more just like that. Almost imagine that you're moving through water, through sand, through peanut butter, whatever helps to activate those arm muscles a little bit more. One more time, simple and steady, just like that. Exhale, flip, bring them down. On your next inhale, carry your hands up nice and high, but bring them to a little prayer above your head. Now, I say above my head, but it's not directly over my head. It's more in line with my peripheral vision, which means if I don't move my eyes whatsoever, I can still see my hands above my head. I want you to think of kissing your shoulder blades together behind your body, while at the same time, envision a little string attached to your sternum, lightly pulling your chest and sternum up through that space between your arms. Press the palms in towards one another. Lift your low belly up and in. Take a great big inhale. Now, as you exhale, I want you to bring your right hand down by your side, and we're not going to yank our hand totally up and over, but instead keep reaching it away and maybe crawl your right fingertips over. You might look lightly underneath the armpit. You might keep your gaze forward, whatever works better in your body. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, use your oblique muscles, those side belly muscles, to help pull us all the way back up. Press those palms in, roll your shoulders, tone the tummy, and then soften your left hand down. Reach your right fingertips out and away from you as you crawl your left away. Big inhale. Exhale, pull yourself all the way back to center. Flip the palms, bring them all the way down to the ground. And then if we have a block, we're gonna grab it, but if not, you'll simply take your hands out in front of you and pretend you have a block. So whether you're holding on to a true block or you're imagining you've got one, I want you to give it a good squeeze. I want you to soften the shoulders down the back and still imagine kind of lifting your sternum up to the sky. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, take a small twist to the right. Now, do you notice I am not trying to yank myself as far to the right as I can, but instead I'm at more of a diagonal line. The space between my hands, between my arms, is kind of framing my right thigh on the ground. Take a big inhale. Exhale, pull yourself back to center. Big breath here. Exhale, twist to the left. Take a moment, reach those fingertips further away while you keep kissing your shoulder blades in. Big inhale. Exhale, back to center. We'll repeat that a little faster. Inhale, twist right. Exhale, pause center. Inhale, twist left. Exhale, pause center. Keep going at your own pace, slow and steady. Always pausing. It's not just a big wave side to side, but more of like a tick-tock. Inhale, exhale, pause, center. Last one, inhale, exhale, return center. Don't let the arms release down, but take your feet to the floor in front of you. Stamp your whole foot into the floor and turn on the backs of your thighs. Give that block or imaginary block a good squeeze. Imagine it's incredibly heavy. We want our arm muscles turned on. Take a big inhale. Exhale, tip your pelvis back and rock slowly into a lovely controlled C curve. Now pause when you find your C curve. Give that block a bigger squeeze. Reach your fingertips further away. Hollow the tummy and soften the shoulders down the back. Now again, we're going to lift our arms up back to that peripheral vision height, not all the way up over our head, but in that diagonal kind of line. Exhale, bring it right back in front of your sternum. Inhale, float the block up. Exhale, squeeze it as you bring it down. Inhale, float the block up. Exhale, squeeze it as you bring it right back down. 2 more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, right back down. Last one. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, right back down. Hold. Take a great big breath. Use all of your exhale to pull yourself all the way up to a seat. Set the block on the ground if we have one, and again, hands out side to side. Now, all of us, let's imagine we're holding that block or a very heavy present. Sit up taller and straighter. Big deep inhale. Exhale, slowly tip yourself all the way back and round into that lovely C curve again. Stamp into your heels, tone your belly. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, I want you to take that same little twist we just did a moment ago on our sitting bones, sitting normally, and bring those fingertips over to the right. Now again, I'm not trying to yank it as far as I can go. I'm keeping my C curve, and I'm only going so far to the right that I can remain in control. Take a big inhale. Exhale, return center. Inhale, pause. Exhale, twist back. Inhale, pause. Exhale, return. A little faster. Inhale, twist. Exhale, pause, center. Inhale, twist. Exhale, return. Keep going at your own pace. Taking that small, tiny little twist without moving your lower body whatsoever. You got this. Last set. Last one. Return center, hold. Reach those fingertips away. Hollow your tummy. If you need to come up, you can. But could you hold here? And could we circle our right arm around for 5? Inhale around. Exhale, return. 3, 2, 1. Hold. Squeeze your block. Tone your tummy. Hollow. And then left for 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Hold, take a great big breath. Exhale, roll yourself all the way up. Extend the feet long. They can be a little bit wider than the hips, or hip distance is fine. And there can of course be a soft bend in the knee. Belly button up and in. Take those fingertips up nice and high. Almost imagine internally rotating your pinkies towards one another and lifting up and as far away out of your waist as you can. Take a big inhale and a small hinge forward. Stop. I want you to look up here real quick. If you aren't already, did you just try and yank yourself as far down to the ground as you can? We're not doing that right now. In fact, I want you to keep reaching those fingertips away in that same peripheral vision kind of angle we were talking about earlier. And think about this for a moment. This is all about extension through the back of our body, the back of our legs, and the back of our spine. And this is very similar to what we'd accomplish in a downward facing dog. If you think about it, we are basically in our downward facing dog. We're just on our sitting bones instead of on our hands and feet. So you can find similar shapes just in different positions, and it can give you a lot of information. You might notice, oh, you know, it's a lot harder for me to do this here. It's harder for me to keep my upper body up, but oh my gosh, I've got so much more space to the back of our legs. Just nice to change it up sometimes. Take a big inhale. Exhale, tone your tummy, pull yourself all the way up. Inhale, lift up and over, find that diagonal line again. And then this time I want you to take your left hand to your right leg, either above or below our knee. not on it, because it's so precious and delicate. We always want to be very loving to it. It's that same feeling here that someone is pulling your arm away, but you're going to look underneath it, and you can use your left hand to help deepen that twist if you so choose. Take a great big breath here. Unravel both hands up. Same thing to the other side. And again, if you think about this, this is like a twisted downward facing dog, which is actually quite a challenging posture for a lot of people. So just setting yourselves down, we can find new shapes. Take a big inhale. Now forward fold over the legs, just as much as whatever feels good for you. Roll yourself up, walk your feet in, give yourself a great big hug, a great big squeeze. And then from here, I want us to rock and roll just a little bit on the back of our body. You might feel silly, and who cares? Go ahead and laugh at yourself. And eventually, I want you to rock and roll so much that we come up to a forward fold. Now, if you had to kind of crawl yourself up there, that's okay. Heel toe your feet apart, a little bit wider than your hips. Bend your knees if you want to, soften your head, and give yourself a gentle sway side to side. Sometimes it feels nice to swivel my hips in kind of a figure 8. Sometimes just softly, deeply bending and then straightening can feel nice. You just listen to whatever is calling in your body. Do heel toe your feet back to hip distance if they are wider at all, and put a great big bend in both knees. Let your head hang even heavier, opening up the back of your cervical spine. I want you to take a big step with your left foot way behind you, so we come into a great big lunge. Now this is another handy place for a block if you happen to have one. Many of us can set our hand on the ground, but even just lifting up for a lot of us can be very useful. I have very short arms, little tiny dino arms, proportionally speaking to the rest of my body. So I am that person in any class I go to. I grab pretty much any prop that's open to me. I think that sometimes we think to ourselves, oh, I don't want to use a prop. I'm strong enough to do this whole class without props. When in fact, props really are more there to just make things more accessible with your own body proportions rather than a crutch. So I strongly encourage you to use all the props that any instructors give you, and even sometimes the ones that they don't have lying out and about. If you know you like something in an in-person class, you go get that prop and you incorporate it into your practice however works best for you. But whether you have your hand on the ground or on a block is perfectly fine. Do take your right hand to the top of your right thigh and think of pressing away from your thigh and the mat and lifting your belly button up, broadening your shoulders. If I came up to you and I grabbed hold of your back ankle, could I press that heel closer down? Would you find more length there? Keep pressing into both your block or mat and your thigh, and then look over your right shoulder. Find that nice little twist. Take a big inhale. Exhale, bring your nose back down towards the ground and drop your back knee to the mat. You may or may not untuck the thigh, that's up to you. Again, press away and look over. So we think of our body in kind of a diagonal line right here. I'm not trying to yank my head straight up, but rather out and away in that same diagonal shape that we've been talking about all day. Big inhale. Unravel. Go ahead, move the block out of the way, tuck and lift, and then return to your forward fold. Make your way there as gracefully or as awkwardly as you need to. No one's watching you, does not matter. And then when you're ready, deeply bend your knees, step the right or the opposite foot back. And again, if we have some props, we can utilize them. If we don't, that's okay too. But hands to the block, to your thigh, broaden your shoulder, press that heel back, lift your low belly up and in. If I came up and I grabbed your ears, could you reach longer? Could you find more length towards the wall in front of you? Press into both your mat, your block, and your thigh, and then roll the shoulder, look up and over towards the opposite direction. Now, if our neck is feeling a little bit tight today and it feels better to keep our gaze right on down, that's okay. You do whatever works best for you. Reach those hips back, pull your belly button up and in, take a breath. Unravel, drop the back knee down to the ground. You can untuck that toe if that feels nice. And again, I'm pressing away, but not straight up. I'm using that leverage of my hand on my mat block or thigh, and I'm trying to reach my head further away so I can keep all of that beautiful length we've been talking about in our spine all day. No hurry, no rush. Maybe another little twist here if we want to. Come on back to center, move your block off to the side. We'll tuck our back toe, lift our knee, and then hop into our forward fold again. Bend the knees, swivel and shake it out. And then one more time, deeply bend both. We'll extend our left foot back to return to our lunge. Now we are going to immediately drop our knee down this time, and you may or may not use your blocks, no big deal either way. But right now, I want you to think about your pubic bone, that bone kind of at the base of our pelvis there, and rather than trying to reach it towards the ground, I want you to think of it being pulled or kind of pushed forward. That can kind of help open out through the front of your left hip a little bit. Do notice if you're allowing your knee to fall off to the side, we don't want that. We want our knee straight over our ankle, always protecting those very precious and delicate joints of ours, being good to our body rather than trying to force it into shapes that it doesn't like. Back up if you need to, that's okay. No big deal. Take a breath. Let it go. Go ahead, move your hands down to the ground, tuck and lift. Now from here, if we want to, this might be enough. This is a great big posture on its own, but if you want to send your hips back with a block or two, go right ahead. But do notice if you're letting your hips drift to the right or left side of the mat, I want you to think of toning your inner thighs towards one another, or pulling your front heel towards your back toes. That can help create that lift. No hurry, no rush. Big inhale. As you exhale, rebend your knee, move any props you have off, and hop into your forward fold. Swivel it out, bend the knees, step the opposite foot back. Immediately drop that knee down to the ground, just like we did on the other side. And now, while we're here in this lovely low lunge, our Anjaneyasana, it's again lightly pressing your pubic bone forward. You can grab whatever you need to. The top of the head is still reaching. I don't want you to try and roll straight over. We always want to have that length in our spine and our low back, and we want to think about trying to almost flatten out that space to the front of your right hip. That can help to open up there a little bit more. No hurry, no rush. When you're ready, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and then once more, maybe send the hips back. Now again, I have a habit of letting my hips kind of drift in the same direction as my front leg, but thinking about kind of swiveling them in line with one another, in line with my heels, and then trying to pull my inner thighs together can help keep me in proper alignment. Now, whether your hands are on the floor or you've got blocks up here, that's great. No hurry, no rush. Rebend, find that lovely Anjaneyasana lunge. A low crescent lunge. Take a breath. And then hop your foot in, return to your forward fold. Move those hips a little side to side. Hands to the tops of your thighs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, let it go. Again, inhale, half lift. Exhale, let it go. One more time, half lift. Let it go. Deeply bend the knees so much that we come all the way back down onto the ground. And if you've got a block, grab it. If not, pretend, but bring it between your inner thighs. Hands behind your thighs, roll the shoulders back. Stomp your feet into the floor without lifting your toes, and then take your fingertips straight in front of you. Give that imaginary blocker present a squeeze. Turn on your arms. Take a big inhale. Exhale, tip the pelvis back. Roll yourself into your lovely C curve. Give that block between your legs a squeeze, or your imaginary block. Don't let your knees knock together if you have an imaginary block. Inhale, lift your hands up to that diagonal height. Exhale, bring it down, squeeze the block. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, hollow your tummy, squeeze your imaginary block. 3 more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, tone your inner thighs, tone your stomach as you bring it right back down. You got this. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down and squeeze. Hold there for a moment. Squeeze that block. Reach your fingertips further and further away. Take a great big inhale. Exhale, I want you to tip back just a hint more. Take a great big inhale. Exhale, lift up a hint higher. Inhale, slowly tip back just a little more. Exhale, squeeze the block as you lift up. Inhale, slowly down just a tad bit more. Exhale, up, back to that starting spot. Last one down. Exhale, roll all the way up. Elongate the legs once more. You can move that block out of the way. Take your fingertips high overhead. Pinkies rotate towards one another. Spine so long. Exhale, a little hinge. Take a full breath here. Big sigh out. Left hand comes down to right leg. Reach your right fingertips away. Look underneath. Find that length. Unravel. Same thing, up and out of the waist. Right hand to left leg. Look and stretch. Unravel. Take a breath. Now forward fold, roll yourself up, walk your feet back in. You can bring those toes to touch, or if it feels better, hip distance, that's great. Take those hands out and away, stamp down into the earth with the whole of your foot, big inhale. Exhale, slowly tip back around down into your lovely C curve. Reach those fingertips out and away. We're going to swim again, but we're going to go side to side, so not just staying on our right side for 5, but right and then left and then right and then left. You know what I mean. Reach those fingertips away. Inhale, swim, exhale, return. Left. Inhale, swim, exhale, return. Right. Inhale, around, exhale, pull. To the left. Inhale, around, exhale, return. Keep going at your own pace. What do you need to focus on? Is it keeping that lovely, beautiful C curve through your back? Is it toning that tummy? Is it stamping your feet onto the floor? Is it keeping your breath smooth? I hope you're not turning beet red. Last set. Inhale around, exhale, return. Last one. Inhale around, exhale, return. Take a breath. Roll yourself up. Beautiful job. Open those feet to about hip distance if they aren't already. Slowly tip back one vertebrae at a time. We're coming all the way down to the ground. Walk your feet in, hands by your sides, palms into the floor. Notice, are you letting your low back pull away? Could we soften down, opening the shoulders, stamp into your feet, keep your nose pointing straight up to the sky. Inhale, lift your pelvis up, finding a gentle bridge. No hurry, no rush. That spot where your thigh and your glute connect, give it an extra squeeze. Big inhale. Exhale, slowly come on down. Take your right foot up. It may or may not lift up to the sky, but we're gonna cross it over, finding a little figure 4. Did you just let your left hip completely fall away from the ground? We wanna keep it connected. If that means that your knee is pointing a little more up instead of off in a straight line, that's okay. But from here, keep the connection of your shoulders on the floor. Inhale, lift up, find a figure 4 bridge. Now, if this is too much for a stay, that's okay. Set yourself down. If you feel like you're very wonky and you're not letting your right hip at all, just return to the ground. That's okay. The idea is that our hips do stay level and we get to open up a little bit more through our hips. Roll yourself all the way back down. Unravel that foot. Same thing to the other side. Give yourself a moment. Feel all that connection to the back of your body and the mat. And lift on up. Find your bridge pose here. Toe can be pointed, flat, soft, really whatever works better in your body. But notice, are you dumping all the weight over to your left side? Is your right shoulder pulling away from the mat? Could you soften it down? You got this. Bring yourself all the way down. Unravel. Pull both knees into your chest, maybe circle them around a little bit. And then elongate the legs, reach your hands high overhead. Lightly close your eyes and just notice what's changed since we began class. Take a big deep inhale. Great big breath out. Remember, you can always stay in your Shavasana for as long as you'd like to, but make your way up to a seat whenever you feel ready. And as always, give yourself time to arrive, to wiggle. Give yourself a great big pat on the back saying thank you for doing something so good and just for you. I am so happy you joined me for class today, and I can't wait to see you again.